Don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite channel, Huda TV. Most people acknowledge that racism and discrimination are both immoral and unethical, yet you find both of these problems widely spread throughout the globe, even amongst those who say it's wrong. It's an unfortunate reality that has caused much damage to the human race. On tonight's episode, we will discuss some of the causes and effects of racism and discrimination and how we can avoid racism and discrimination. So I'm going to start off as usual by letting my guests introduce themselves. But before that, I want to quickly remind you that you can join our conversation anytime during this episode by simply calling the number on your screen. So if I could start with my right brother, if you could introduce yourself, give us your name, where you're from, what you're doing here in Egypt, and just a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
My name is Ibrahim ibn Khalil Hurani. I'm from Germany, and I'm here in Egypt to study Sharia in Azhar University.
Okay, so are you currently studying at Al-Azhar University?
Yes, I'm currently
What year are you in?
in the second year.
In the second year. How are you finding it so far?
Alhamdulillah, it's
Yeah.
good. Time is less, but Alhamdulillah, we are learning a lot.
All right, and how long have you been here in Egypt?
It's about 4 years now.
Okay, 4 years. And do you like it here in Egypt?
Yes,
All right.
it's an Islamic environment. This
All right.
is what I like.
All right, Ibrahim, I want to welcome you to Let's Talk, and I want to thank you for joining tonight's discussion.
Thank you too.
Brother, if you can give us your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Mahmoud Abdul Sabor.
All right,
I'm
welcome,
from
Mahmoud.
Appreciate it, thank
Mhm.
you. I'm from the USA.
We're in the U.S.
I'm from Georgia, southeastern United States.
All right, and what are you doing here in Egypt?
Like Ibrahim, I'm studying here in Al-Azhar University, third year Sharia.
All
Sharia
right,
Islamiyya.
and how are you finding Egypt so far?
Egypt is interesting. It's different. It's definitely different from the USA, but Alhamdulillah, it's a nice experience. It's a
All
nice
right.
life experience.
All right, that's good to know. All right, I want to welcome you to tonight's program. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Brother, if I can go to you, if you can give us your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Ahmed Honest Kashiri. People usually call me Honest, basically. So I'm from the U.S., specifically Los Angeles, California, and I'm studying Sharia
Here in
Azhar.
Azhar University also. What year are you in?
Second year.
Okay, so you guys are in the same class. You
Yeah.
and, all right. All right. And how are you finding Egypt so far?
Alhamdulillah, it's as Brother Mahmoud said, it's very different compared to the U.S. But when you get your goal set, you just go for it. Basically, it's just another obstacle just to go over. So,
All right.
it's all good.
All right. I want to welcome you to the show and thank you for joining us here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Go ahead, brother. If you can give us your name, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself.
I'm your brother Ahmed al-Shafi'i. I'm from Egypt,
All right.
and I'm a graduate of Al-Azhar University from Islamic Studies of English. Alhamdulillah, I graduated in 2011, and nowadays I'm working as an English instructor.
Okay, that's good to know. And how are you finding Egypt?
Actually, I've grown here in Egypt, so I found it, Alhamdulillah, better than other countries.
All right, I want to welcome you to the show, Ahmed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to welcome you to the show and thank you for joining us here tonight.
I appreciate it.
So now, what I want to do is I want to start with you,
Me.
and I want to ask you, give me some reasons why people discriminate against others.
Actually, I can find many reasons because I can see people discriminate against each other due to the complexion and due to, for example, their lineage and their I can say their culture, for example. And some people actually they discriminate against each other due to where they live, for example, or they are, I don't know, They live in, for example, in a high standard level and in a low standard level. So I believe it has many causes. But why I believe the major cause for it is the person himself, ill heart. Yes,
So
this is what I believe, because I see no differences between people. They are all carrying poop inside their bowls, right, or bowels and intestines. So, come on, man. You are a human created by Allah. So what's special about you and not with others? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He taught us, or as He created all people equal, and Allah preferred to give this person, for example, a different color or a different circumstances or living circumstances. So I don't know why people have something like this, but it's a fact and it's there in the world.
yeah, it's a sad reality, and the saddest thing is that we're sitting here and discussing this,
Yes.
meaning it's a real problem in the world right now.
And I got shocked actually when I found it's still there in the world, and it's not even in the Muslim world. It's still there. So I was shocked. Come on, man! In the Muslim world, after all we've been through, after like 1,400 years of Islam, and we still have something like this. And actually, I can tell, I'm surprised.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Brother Honest, what do you think are some of the causes?
I think that one cause of racism being here
Mhm.
is the media portraying how people actually act or their
Okay, that's a
cultures.
very
You
good
know,
point.
as for example, in America, where the surprise movie flick of Bruce Lee, if you all know, as how he's the China man, you know, he's doing all his moves and whatnot, and that just set everyone, like basically the world, about how, just because he's
Chinese.
yeah,
or-
basically,
yeah.
he could do all these moves, and then when you that mindset right there, it goes into, and it just makes you think like all Chinese people are this and that. So
Stereotype.
it just makes that media itself is like a
Yes.
like a home for stereotypes, basically. So it's misinformation in that as well.
All right, so that's a very good point. The media, the way they portray and stereotype certain people.
Yeah.
If I can go to this side, brother, what do you think are some of the causes
I
of
think
racism?
some of the main causes are the media too, and the education. I think the education has a big role in it, because I'm from Germany, and Germany is well known about racism.
We know our history.
We know the history, yeah.
Yeah.
And the point is that they were loving themselves too much. So
Yeah.
this love was affecting that they hate everything else. And this was some other reason in discrimination.
Okay, that's a very good point. When you think of yourself as better than somebody else, that
Exactly,
leads
that's
to
Exactly
discrimination. Okay, Brother Mahmoud, if you can share some of the causes of racism that you think.
I think there are many. I'm sitting here listening to the brothers now, and actually my wheels are spinning. But one of the main causes, I think, is ignorance, a lack of education, a lack of open-mindedness or closed-mindedness. Also, people having a false sense of superiority, thinking that you somehow have been born better than someone else.
Yeah.
And we're all human beings. And I think it was Ahmed who mentioned how we're all created equal.
Equally, yeah.
Right? So what gives you the idea that you're better
You're
than
better
someone?
than somebody else.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is ignorance, though. I think people have to really, excuse me, look at themselves and say, I'm a human, this guy's a human, that guy's a human, it doesn't matter what color his skin is. And media has a lot to do with it. Popular culture has a lot to do with it. Just sicknesses, personal, like mental and spiritual sicknesses, I think have a lot to do with it as well. Like, how can you think that you are better than someone, or that you can harm someone, or that you have the right to take advantage of someone just because they're a different color than you or come from a different culture than you? I think it's really a sickness, and it has to be overcome with love and care as opposed to hate.
Yeah, that was some very good insight, actually. So now, since you guys shared some of the causes of racism and discrimination, I want to get into some of the effects it can have on people, and for that we're going to quickly watch a short video clip.
How perfect you are, Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
My brothers and sisters in Islam, I remember when I was given dawah about this blessed religion, when the brothers used to tell me about Allah and His Messenger, when the brothers used to tell me about the companions around the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the brothers used to tell me about the Salaf, the people of the past. And all praise to Allah, embracing Islam, everything they told me about Islam is the haqq, wallahi, is the truth. But many of the things they told me about the Muslim was completely incorrect. Now, we know, well, the Muslims know, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in his final sermon, there's no difference between a black man and a white man. The only difference is via their deeds. All the Muslims know this. But wallahi, brothers and sisters in Islam, majority of the Muslims do not think like this. We have a big problem in the Muslim community in regards to racism, and it's something that is never spoken about. Allahu Akbar. Something that is never spoken about. Something what is brushed under the carpet. While we have many people in our community suffering from racism. Now let me make it clear, my brothers and sisters in Islam, I'm not coming up here trying to show the race card. Because before Islam, my race was never an issue. Before I became a Muslim, my race was never an issue. But amongst many of the Muslims, my skin complexion is a problem to them. Many of you will be watching this video and say, what's Abu Bakr really talking about? When does he experience racism? SubhanAllah, I've experienced it so many times and it's shocking. And many of the time you experience on people that you never expected. You get into a dispute with a brother. You get into an argument, and I'm talking online, because alhamdulillah, I haven't really suffered any racism face to face. It's majority online. You get into a dispute. You put up something maybe someone doesn't like. There's a disagreement. And some of the comments that I've heard from brothers who believe in Allah and His Messenger, subhanAllah, wallahi, shocking. I'm going to give you some examples. You black dog. Calling me the N-word. Calling me a slave. Saying things like you're unwanted in Islam. Allahu Akbar. And then on the other side, you have Muslims who say things, but Aki, how can Muslims be racist? Bilal radiallahu anhum, he was black. And so many of the Muslims have this assumption that he was the only black Sahaba. But inshallah ta'ala, we've got some series coming out what's going to emphasize on some of these points. But my brothers and sisters in Islam, some of you have a serious illness, a disease in the heart. Now I'm going to be honest with you. Before I became Muslim, I was amongst the racist people. I was amongst the people who would only stick with people who were my color from my town. But when I came to Islam and learned about Allah, learned about His Messenger, I saw this problem in myself. And all praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I was able to cure myself and get this illness out of my heart. But many of you brothers and sisters who are watching this video have this illness. Brothers and sisters in Islam, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in regards to this. Many brothers and sisters have left the deen of Islam because of some of you. Could you imagine on Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the day of judgment, standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and someone left Islam because of you? Now let me make this clear.
Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed that short video clip. Now if I can, Brother Honest, if I can get your thoughts on that video. Go ahead.
Yeah, his experience of being a black Muslim convert, that's like a minority in a minority, So when you get that feeling that you're alone and you just go into a new community of where they are already minorities as well. You know, he's gonna get like cut down basically into the fact that, oh, you're not like, for example, as a majority Muslim denomination of what I'm seeing in America, like the Pakistanis, the Indians, the Arabs, as a black person or some other race, it would be as though he would be like that black sheep, you know, as to say, he would be really cornered out and
They feel left out.
yeah,
and
left
not
out
part of
basically,
the
yeah.
community.
So it's basically like a whole minority and a minority.
All right. Brother, can I get your thoughts on the video?
Actually, as I told you before, it was shocking to see something like this. He said he had no problem with that before he becomes a Muslim, but when he became a Muslim, he all of a sudden it popped out, and you know he felt it. So how come we Muslims became like, no, we do not consider like other people's feeling. Come on. Why? You know, we know that we've been taught, okay, the great people of Islam, okay, they were from different places other than Arab countries and other than other places. They were, for example, we have the you know, the scholar, the great scholar of Hadith, al-Bukhari, okay, he was not Arab. Okay, and also we have we have you know, Imam Muslim from Naysabur, and we have Bilal the mu'adhin of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they are, you know, they are like one of the greatest people of Islam. Okay, but how come they for example, they forget all the Islam teachings and act like this? It is an issue we have to settle it down.
All right. If I can go over here, brother, can I get your thoughts on the video?
Yes, I was very shocked too, because, like the brother said too, that he was not having this racism before he entered Islam, and we the Muslims are supposed to be the opposite.
Yeah.
So I was very shocked when I saw this video, and alhamdulillah, I praise Allah that he is still in Islam and talking about it. And this is, I think, not a lot of people are that don't have the strength to talk about it on the internet, or to talk about it with other people. And I think the problem is that we get far from our religion, from our own religion, and we have these principles, and we have the idols in our religion, but it's like they are living in a different world. So it's sometimes for nowadays, for Muslims, it's a bit hard to combine these two worlds. It's like two worlds, because we hear about big scholars in Islam, and most of them are not Arabs.
Yeah.
And they are big scholars of Islam, and even we have the Sahaba, and some of the Sahaba, they were not having the same color, and still there was not racism inside the Sahaba, because they understood what Islam is about. And now we, in our world, with all the different thoughts and all the different advancements now, subhanAllah, and now we forget these things. I think we forget it, and we forget to try to practice more this kind of things.
All right. Thanks for sharing your thought on that. Brother, if I can get your thoughts on the video.
I can say it was definitely an interesting video. I'm not that shocked. Unfortunately, I think...
Why is that?
Being an African-American Muslim living in the United States of America, in the South, I mean, racism is a reality. And then coming into, I won't say coming into Islam, but being a Muslim, you get exposed to lots of different cultures. Like Anas mentioned, I mean, you have in America, you have lots of different pockets of Muslims or communities of Muslims. And Muslims usually, at least in the States, they stick in their own little communities. So you have the Pakistani Muslims, and you have the Arab Muslims, and you have the whatever other groups that you have, and you have the African American Muslims. And there really is a problem of racism or discrimination within the Muslim community. However, I think that the brother was, I won't say he was mistaken, but I don't think the problem stems from Islam. I don't think it's from the Muslims. I think this just is within our cultures as people.
Yeah.
And Islam came to cleanse us. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that He perfected our deen. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum. He perfected our deen, and He perfected us, and He sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give us the perfect manners and how to deal with people. So this is a problem, racism and discrimination. It goes back before Islam, we can say.
Yes.
And it's a problem that people have to overcome. When you embrace Islam, when people embrace Islam, or when you say that you're a Muslim, whether you are a convert or a revert or whatever you want to call it, or whether you were born into the deen, you have to apply all of the deen, not just some of it.
Yeah.
So just because you're an Arab, for instance, that doesn't make it okay for you to discriminate against
Non-Arabs.
non-Arabs or
Yeah.
black Arabs or white Arabs or whatever the case may be. We have to say Islam it's open for all. Islam is open for all. And unfortunately, and I'm speaking from experience with the Muslim community, we have racism within the Muslim communities and inside of the cultures as well. I mean, I know in America, I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but let's look at the Pakistani or the Indian community. They have the caste system there in India, right? So this is something that for a long time they have had groups of people, and it has been discrimination within these communities, and the people may have become Muslim, but some of these old habits may have stuck around. So you have racism built into people, and they have to take it out of them. They have to realize that, hey, even though this is what I see around me every day, this may be what's popular, this may be the way that most people talk, I am now a Muslim. I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. I have to leave this behind. This is a sickness. I have to ask Allah Ta'ala to help me. I have to become a human being and not just a product of my environment.
All right. That was very good. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the video and, breaking down the different reasons for discrimination within the Muslim community. We have a phone call from Brother Hussam from Egypt.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, Brother Hussam?
Well, alhamdulillah, I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. I want to thank you for joining our conversation here today.
Jazakumullah khair. May Allah reward all of you and all of your guests. Brother, inshallah, you have a very good topic, which is racism. Of course, racism in Islam is it makes a very big gap among the Muslims, and that is something which can destroy our ummah. So, inshallah, may Allah help you to try to say something to solve this problem and to make the people decrease this problem, inshallah.
Ameen, ameen. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother.
Brother Hussam, I want to thank you for joining us once again. And thank you for those compliments, those generous compliments you made for us there. Are you still with us, Brother Hussam?
Yes. You are very welcome, Yaki. You are very welcome.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Now, we constantly mention these things that Islam doesn't agree with racism or discrimination, or within Islam we don't believe in any sort of discrimination and racism. If I can get you guys to tell me, how does Islam discourage racism or discrimination for that matter?
I can tell Islam, the first thing, or the major mistake that new Muslims do these days, it's grouping.
Mm-hmm.
Each group of Muslims, they stick together. Islam is not about this. When Suhaib al-Rumi came to the Prophet, peace be upon him, Bilal al-Habashi, okay, all these people, they weren't like, they had their own community, and people of Al-Yaman, for example, they had their own community in Islam, and people of Al-Madinah, they had their own community, and people of Mecca, they had their own community. No, they all were united. Islam is about decentralization. Okay, your only center is Islam. Okay, it's not about your race or your tongue, your complexion. No, Islam is about being a Muslim. So Islam, I can say, embrace all mankind. So what do you know what Muslim communities do? Okay, you know, each Muslim become, or each, for example, group of Muslim, they make their own community, and they don't melt into the community. This is, I can say, this is a major problem, and we have to put an end to this. We are all Muslim. We should care for all, you know, for all Muslims, as long as they say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah and Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. They're Muslims and they're brothers. We should take care of them. We should embrace them, not to stick to ourselves. And no, this is not Islam at all. Okay, and Islam discourages this and said, Allah, even in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى. O people, we have created you from male and female and made you people and tribes to
get to know each other.
To disagree or to agree together, or to connect together or to disconnect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to, you know, to be acquainted
with each
other.
Yeah.
Yes, Allah وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. You know, the
brother, I'm going to have you hold your thought just there for a second. We have a phone call from Muhammad, if we can get the phone call through, from Egypt. Muhammad from Egypt, Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Alaikum assalam. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
Pretty fine, alhamdulillah. I just want to say something before, related to this topic that we have tonight. Before I say it, I'm going to say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Then, the only solution for racism and discrimination is reading Quran. Believe me, brother, there's no other solution to this problem except reading Quran. Except reading Quran. No other solutions. They're trying to find in the Western countries to find solutions for racism, but they can fail, definitely. So the only solution is reading Quran. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, and I want to thank you for joining our conversation, Brother Muhammad. And now, unfortunately, we're out of time before the break, so we're going to quickly take a break, so stay tuned.
Imagine that the Anbiya, they were the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they had the hardest lives.
He assumed that he had some kind of superiority and he was a better, more chosen, better person because he had this wealth. And then you look at all the other people who had wealth, and some of them were the worst people. You had Fir'aun and
Qarun.
Reviving your niyyah time and again, that you're doing insincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Most of the youth, they think, oh, I'm going to pray when I'm old, it's okay, now I'll have fun in my life. Later on I'll work, I'll go on my bed, I'll pray 5 times a day. And all these things, they think that's later on in their life, and they don't know when they will die.
Amira, who's your role model?
Khadija radiallahu anha.
And why?
Because she was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, and she was the first lady to believe in Islam.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. Now, before the break and before the phone calls, Brother Ahmed was explaining an ayah for us. I'm going to let you finish.
Yes, the ayah, as we mentioned, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "O mankind, or all people, we've created you from males and females, and we made you peoples and tribes, so that you can get acquainted." And truly, okay, the most honorable of you is the most righteous, and the most honorable of you in Allah's sight is the most righteous. It is not about how well are you educated, or how well are you dressed, or any of these standards, or any of these worldly standards. You know that one of the incidents that happened at the Prophet's time, when one of the great Sahabas, Abu Dharr, okay, he was one of the great Sahabas, and he actually called Bilal ibn Rabah, you son of a black woman. Okay, so black actually remained silent, and he went to the Prophet actually, because this affected his feeling actually. He went there and he called the Prophet, "O Prophet Muhammad, Abu Dharr told me so and so." So the Prophet was furious for such an incident. And how come you're a Muslim and you have some of the Jahiliyyah remains, the ignorance times remain? No, we have to, it's detested in Islam. So the Prophet, when Abu Dharr came, the Prophet was furious, and he didn't talk to him. He gave him his back. So the Prophet, Abu Dharr, felt guilty for what happened. The Prophet told him, "How come you reproach him with about his mother? How come? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tried to consider people's feeling, and he said, the Prophet told us in one of the hadith, actually, if you are three, do not make secret conversation between one, okay, and consider and avoid the other, because actually you're hurting his feeling. He may think
that you're talking about
him. So here, so it's just only hurting his feeling by thoughts. How about by words? So when he did something like this, the Prophet actually turned against him. And Abu Dharr, look at how great Muslims were, okay? He put his cheek on the dust, and he said, "I'm not going to let it go, or I'm not going to stand up unless Bilal steps on me with his leg, because I deserve this." But Bilal, when he saw him doing something like this, he actually fall to the ground, and he kissed him on his cheek and said, "This honorable cheek, okay, must not by any means be stepped on by feet." So they are, this is the environment we should live in, okay? But the environment of grouping, and every community is closed on itself. No, this is not Islam. So we should all welcome each other as Muslims, and forget all the differences. Come on, we have to live as real Muslims. This is something we should actually achieve in this world of life.
Right,
to be true Muslims of life.
All right, thank you for sharing that. I want to come over here. Brothers, you know that as students of Islamic law, both of you, and you two also, you guys know that there's many differences of opinions within Islamic law. Do you think that not having respect for somebody else's opinions within Islamic law can cause discrimination?
Yes, I think so.
Alright, and how would you say that would happen?
Because it will cause two things. Because if he's not accepting the other one, so he says like, "I'm right and you're wrong."
Yeah.
So this is like the beginning of discrimination. And on top of it, he's like, after that, he's saying if he believes that the other one is wrong, he will not take him serious, and he will maybe not listen to him anymore. So the discrimination starts here.
So it starts with that, and
the
disrespect comes
intolerance.
in there. Brother Mahmoud, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I could see how this could lead to discrimination or intolerance. I'm right all of the time, I don't care what you have to say, sort of attitude. This definitely leads to problems. I mean, you have to always take into consideration other people's feelings, other people's ideas. We have a saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You may be right, but this other guy may be right too. I think all of the imma of the madahib, they have a saying that goes something like, my opinion is correct, and
The others maybe.
Yeah, they say يحتمل الخطأ. يعني it could be wrong. My opinion is correct and it could be wrong. And the other guy's opinion is incorrect, but it could be right.
It could be right, yeah.
All of Imam Shafi'i and Imam Abu Hanifa and the rest of the Imam, they have similar statements like this. So you always take into consideration what the other man has to say, because we cannot encompass all knowledge. We cannot encompass all ways to do things. There's no one man who...
It's not a one-man, show.
It's not a one-man show.
Yeah, we got 5 people here. It's not a one-man show here too. Yeah, that's actually really true. And also, like nowadays, how you said, my opinion is right, but it could be wrong. Nowadays, it's just my opinion is right, and your opinion is wrong, and my opinion can't be wrong, which leads to discrimination.
Definitely.
Honest, if I can ask you, if you had a friend who is racist or discriminates against people, how would you help him get out of this problem, or get rid of this problem?
Yeah, if I had a friend who was racist or discriminate, I would actually inform him, like, educate him as how, we're people. If you go through an X-ray, you're like same flesh and bones, basically, and if you're being racist towards someone, just because of their color or their appearance or whatnot,
their beliefs,
their beliefs or whatnot. I mean, like it all matters to how we behave, our conduct basically, because you were like born like that. You didn't choose to become, for example, born in America or something.
That's why the whole idea of racism and discrimination is ridiculous, because I didn't choose to be who I am. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made me this way, and in a way you can say that when somebody discriminates or is racist, he's actually complaining about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this person as. What do you think?
I believe, and when I have a racist friend or something like this, most people actually they don't think they are racist.
Yeah,
they don't know that. So
especially Muslims. Muslims all the time say, no, we're not racist.
No, come on, am I a racist?
I'm Muslim.
So they don't know. So you have to tell them. One of my best friends, and Mahmoud knows him. His name is Ahmed Amadou. He had, he once was giving a session, and he was talking to people, and about things and general things in life, and marriage came in the middle. So he said, he's from Nubia.
Yeah.
So he's black.
Okay, and unfortunately I'm going to have to stop you again. This is the second time. There's a phone call coming. I'm going to let you finish your story. If we can take Brother Hassan from Egypt, phone call. Go ahead. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, I just wanted to say that this is a topic in which I hold dear, and I just wanted to call in and perhaps give the viewers a bit of inspiration through a quote that's from Nelson Mandela. And it goes,
Go ahead.
No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin. People learn to hate. They can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart. I just wanted to provide that beautiful, lovely quote.
That is a very beautiful quote.
Them, to become a better Muslim, inshallah.
Inshallah. Brother Hassan, I want to thank you for joining our program tonight by calling in.
Absolutely. You're doing a wonderful job, by the way. Keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the show.
Absolutely.
All right. And thank you for sharing that wonderful quote with us.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. So, Brother Ahmed, I'm going to let you finish what you were saying before the phone call. I'm sorry, this is the second time. We have to take the phone call.
No problem. I'm glad they call and they interact with us. He was saying, that he's planning to get married someone from Nubia. So, I can say, unintentionally, one of the attendees, they came up and said, "Come on, marry a white woman, okay? We want to improve our offspring." So, wow, this is awful actually. This is something, come on, I said, I said, how come? How come you didn't slam her on, or slam this person on the face? So actually, come on, what is this ill thought? So actually, this is ill. Can you imagine someone say something like this? So mostly she said it unintentionally. You know, it's a kind of a joke. She didn't know it's racism. Actually, he didn't accept that at all. Okay, and he's very proud of his own, of his own people and of his own color. And so, come on, of his own race. So, people like this, they should be actually notified. Should tell them no. Okay, this is something, but do not attack the person himself, because actually, when you attack the person,
then he's not going to want to.
Yeah, he's not going to say, "I'm not a racist." No, come on, this is easy. No, don't attack the person. Attack the idea. Okay, so that he doesn't repeat such an idea ever. So I believe if I've got some person as a racist or something, no, I'm gonna attack the idea, and I'm gonna let him know, and this is wrong. And people actually, they think this is they think they don't know, they do something naturally. So people among or around them have to notify him this is wrong, and they should stand against him. And if they do something like this, actually, they'll feel embarrassed, and they are gonna stop thinking this ill thought anymore.
All right, that was a very good point. And plus, the thing you mentioned, that she said, marry somebody that's of a lighter complexion,
Yes.
And that goes back to Brother Anis's point when he said in the beginning of the show, where the media depicts certain, they set a certain standard of beauty, and what your mind starts to think is beauty.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but actually, one of the major things also that I hate. Okay, when you look at the sign of beauty, for example, when you write in a dictionary, for example, a picture dictionary, you write the word beautiful. They give you someone is white. Come on, okay, come on. So why white? Okay, so you can choose any other complexion. Okay, so beauty is not actually is not I can say exclusive to this. No, so here people should consider this, because actually it hurts other people's feeling without they realize.
Yeah, that's very good.
Point here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I would have a friend or a brother who is racist, so I think the most problem is what I said in the beginning of the show. One of the most reasons is the education.
Yeah.
And what the parents
teach their kids.
What the parents were teaching their kids. And this is the point, because like the Sahaba, they were on Jahiliyyah too, and the Jahiliyyah was full of racism and discrimination.
Yeah.
So the Prophet ﷺ, like the brother in our phone call says, the Quran is the only solution for this kind of racism and discriminations. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was educating the Sahabas, he was raising the Sahabas with the Quran, that they become the most best people after the prophets, may peace be upon him, upon all of them. So it was like, it was not like from today to tomorrow.
Yeah,
it was
over
like
time.
this now.
Yeah.
So if I would have a friend or a brother, it depends on if the friend is Muslim or non-Muslim, but let's say he's a brother. So if he's a brother, we can tell him by Quran, and because Quran is the word of Allah, and nobody can say nothing about it. So you can educate him, or you can just show him how the Prophet ﷺ was raising and educating the Sahabas radiallahu anhu, until they became this honored people. So I think this is the...
That's actually a very good point. Brother Mahmoud, would you like to give some advice to the viewers, because we're almost out of time, and I just want to give you the last stand.
I mean, I've got plenty of friends who have racist ideas or may even be racist. I mean, you have to approach it. It depends on the person. If whether they're Muslim or not, I think you just have to approach it from a humanistic standpoint. Like, what makes you better? What makes you have these ideas? And some people, they have real issues as to why they hate other people. I mean, they may have been wronged. This thing may have been drilled into their minds ever since they were 6 months old. But at some point, when you when you become an adult, when you become able to discern right from wrong, you have to make a decision, and your decision has to be, I'm not going to hate just because everybody else is a hater.
Yeah.
I'm not going to discriminate against this guy just because he's discriminating against me.
Yeah.
And I loved the tradition that Ahmed related about Bilal and Abu Dhar. How the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw this quality in one of his companions, he turned his back to him.
Yeah.
He didn't deal with it. What is this?
And that's education.
This is education. What is this? How can you call yourself a Muslim? How can you call yourself a human? How can you call yourself one of my companions and you treat others like this? I don't want anything to do with you. This has to be our approach to life. If you are about wrong, then you can be about wrong, but we're not about you.
That. All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I want to thank you guys for joining us here tonight. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was, very informative and good conversation. It's like time flew by so quickly. I didn't even realize that it was the end of the show. All right. So I want to thank you guys once again for joining our show, and I want to thank you, dear viewers, for watching. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove this illness from our hearts. And also, I wanted to remind you to check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel if you missed any episodes. And until next time, may God bless you guys all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Your mercy is great.